Ah, you...
The Melville Port in Brooklyn.
Whatever you want.
Hi.
Police again? What do you want now? I've already answered your questions.
I'm not a police officer.
No? Then who are you? You're not one of those dumb journalists who are always looking for conspiracies and scandals everywhere, are you?
I'm a private detective.
Well, I don't care who you are. You'll find a way to bug me anyway, right?
I guess so. Anyway, I just have a few questions to ask you. What are you doing here?
It's the same question that I'm asking myself. I was woken up in the middle of the night by a call from the police who ordered me to close the port due to an investigation.
So you were the port manager?
You could say that. Actually, I'm the only one here. I'm the port manager, the secretary, and even the cleaning crew.
Why did they make you close the port?
The police decided to close the entire port until they complete their investigation, and I have no way of knowing how long it will take. So I have to call the captain of every ship headed here and tell him that he has to unload at Kips Bay instead of here.
If the port is closed, like you say, I doubt you'll have a lot of work to do.
I don't care about the boats, but tomorrow the good Lewis was supposed to disembark with my good Chilean friend that brings me some of the best grog I've ever had. Now I'll have to wait more than a month to see him, and I finished my last bottle last week.
If I want some information, the grog seems a good way to bribe him. I don't need anything else.
Good luck, son.
An open can. Looks like there's pitch in there. Empty bottles of grog. It must be what's left of the harbor master's stash. A bottle is broken. I'll take the part with the label. Grog de Ricardo Blanco. This stuff is over 120 proof. Every sip cuts your liver's life by a week.
Where you want?
Essex Street.
We see.
Yes, using the steam that's coming out, I should be able to get the label off of the piece of bottle I picked up. Let's see. Excellent. Now I have a Grog de Ricardo Blanco label ready for use.
Ah, you...
No way.
In my favorite place.
Hi, Greta.
Hi, Jack.
How's the girl?
She's sleeping upstairs in my bed. Did you find out who she is?
Nothing yet. Do you have a bottle of grog?
Grog? Did you decide to drive the last nail in your liver's coffin?
It's not for me, and it would take too long to explain why I need it.
As usual. Anyway, I don't think I have any grog. No one drinks that stuff. But if you feel like, you can check. There might be a few old bottles on the first shelves, the ones closest to the mill.
I'll take a look. Thanks. Okay, I'm going now.
Bye, Jack.
A huge wall of booze. If there is a heaven, this is what I think it looks like. Soft clouds, angels flying around, and a bar with every kind of booze ever made. If I glue this label on any of these bottles, I could have a bottle of what, at first glance, could look like a bottle of grog. I doubt that the harbor master guy will figure out the swindle, or at least he won't until I get the information I need. It looks perfect. It looks the same as the bottles of grog I found at the port.
Ah, you...
The Melville Port in Brooklyn.
Whatever you want.
Maybe this will help loosen up your tongue.
Where'd you get that bottle?
With a little brain, you can get anything in this city. Tell me what you saw tonight, and it's yours.
I can't.
Let's stop beating around the bush. I have something that you want, and you have something that I want. Let's not get any pointless morals mixed up in the matter.
Okay, and you convinced me.
What do you know about what happened here tonight?
I know that one guy bumped off another guy, and he picked this port to do it. That's what I know, as I've told the police over and over again.
You don't seem too surprised by what went on.
It's not the first time, and it won't be the last that someone gets bumped off around here.
Has it happened before?
You could set your watch by it, and just like my rheumatism. This port has its share of some of the worst scumbags in New York, and sometimes we even manage to get a few troublemakers from out of town. Once they even found a Chicago police lieutenant drowned under one of the piers.
A well-attended place, I'd say.
It wasn't always like this. In the good times, the port was the apple of the eye of Brooklyn's commercial activity.
Tell me about the port.
It was the beginning of the century. New York felt like it was the capital of the whole world. I was just a young sailor with a few dollars in my pocket and no reason to stay on the mainland. The port owner was old Svensson, a Swede who seemed anything but a sailor. In fact, he couldn't have told you the difference between a swordfish and a canister of gasoline. But he knew business. Oh yes, he knew it all right. That guy transformed this place into one of the most important hubs on the East River in just 3 years.
This port doesn't seem like a place where a lot of ships could dock.
You shouldn't look at it now. Half of the port is now demolished and sold. Once there were more than 10 piers. Now there are only a couple. Old Svensson had them build huge ones, so that even the biggest fishing ships could dock.
Why was part of the port sold?
It's a long story. During the port's most active years, I worked at the harbor master's office. An accident involving my right leg stopped me from sailing for a few months. Since I was one of the few who could read or write, I was put in charge of handling port procedures. Everything seemed to go fine, business was good, but Svensson started to change over time. I'm not saying that he looked like one of us, but he started to lose that look of a king that he had when he got here, and he started getting strange visits. Then one day in April 1926, John Grenz, known as the Ace of Spades, found his body floating near the mooring right near his office. The police said that it was a suicide, but none of us believed it. Old Svensson had been neglecting himself, okay, but he still had the will to live. The funeral had barely happened when a certain Pruni, some fat, half-Italian, half-Turkish guy, took over for old Svensson. Within a year, he sold part of the port and fired half of us. I was the only one to keep my job, and I became the harbor master.
Fascinating story, but something doesn't make sense. The recession has shut down businesses that were a lot stronger than this little port. How have you managed to survive this long?
You're quick on your feet, son. The answer is simple. Cruises to freedom.
Cruises to freedom?
Right. If someone wants a change of scene without anyone knowing, this is his ticket to freedom.
You mean that criminals can illegally escape from this port?
You can do the math. I learned not to ask questions.
Tell me who boarded tonight.
Around closing time, the guy who was found bumped off on the dock came here. He had a little girl with him. He asked if he could board the Sainte Marie de la Mer.
The Sainte Marie de la Mer. It's the same name that was in my dream. First that hitman, and now the name of the ship. How's all this possible? Did you see anyone else other than the guy with the girl?
Now that I think about it, yes. I had just closed the harbor master's office when I saw a man near the lamppost. I had never seen him around here before. He wasn't a sailor. He was too elegant to be an old salt.
Describe him.
I only saw him in passing. It's better to avoid looking at anyone for too long around here.
Did you notice anything particular?
He was dressed well, but that's it.
Where did you say he was?
Under that lamppost over there, the one next to the sacks.
Okay. I don't need anything else.
Good luck, son.
This is where the harbor master saw the guy come after Sean. Maybe I'll find something interesting. There are some cigarette butts here. It looks like the guy tailing Sean had to wait for a long while. Let's take a look. The smell of this butt isn't of regular old tobacco. It's hash, which isn't exactly easy to find. It might be a lead to follow, but I can't think of any connection between this cigarette butt and what happened tonight. Maybe I need to think about it. Let's try to think about it. John said that the guy he saw near his cab was smoking a cigarette that smelled funny. And now I find this hashish smoke. There's no doubt that the guy that was following Sean and the one that Sean saw by his cab is the same guy. The cigarette butt won't be much help figuring out the identity of this mystery man, but I might find other clues. There are pieces of paper lying around. It looks like they formed a matchbox once. Who knows why it was ripped up like this? If I piece it back together, maybe I can figure out something more. Okay, now the pieces are coming together. Unfortunately, I don't have all of them here. I can't read exactly what's written on the box. It certainly refers to some kind of business. Maybe the telephone book that I have in my office will be of some help.
Let me guess.
S.
Whatever.
Yes, this matchbox definitely comes from a store or joint in New York. Comparing it with the names of businesses in the phone book, I should be able to figure out the full name, and get the address too. I can see the word book on the matchbox. It must be a bookstore. Let's start looking from there. Little Peninsula. The name matches. It's a bookstore on the Upper East Side, on 65th. I think I better check it out. I don't need the matchbox anymore. I can leave it here.
Where you want to go this time?
65th Street, Upper East Side.
Okay.
And here I am on the Upper East Side. Luxury stores, offices of diplomats, and gentlemen with deep pockets. A right place to work on my intolerance of hypocrisy. Even with the economical crisis, the Upper East Side continues to be full of luxury restaurants. It doesn't matter how bad things are, as long as people can afford a $10 steak, we'll be convinced that everything is okay. Little Peninsula, rare and limited edition books. There's no question that the matches I found at the port are from here. But how could an antique bookstore on the Upper East Side have anything to do with Sean's death? Maybe I'm on the wrong track, or maybe this bookstore does more than just restoring books. It's closed. It's the middle of the night. I don't see why a bookstore should be open at this hour. So, in theory, these crates should contain materials to bind books, or something else useful for an antique bookstore. But I recognize the stamp of booze transports on a couple of these crates. I didn't remember that you needed gin to restore books.
Yes?
Hi, is this the Little Peninsula warehouse?
Yes, of course. Can I help you?
I'd like some information.
If you want information about our catalog, you can come by tomorrow morning when we're open. Unfortunately, we're doing inventory at the moment. Unless you reserved a book, I can't be of any help.
I reserved a book.
Can you please give me the title?
Chandler's latest novel.
Chandler. Sorry, we don't have anything by this author.
Forget it.
Goodbye.
An inventory in the middle of the night. I might be untrusting, but I don't buy it. There has to be something else under this place. Well, if they use the lie about the inventory, I'll use the lie of being the mailman to get a look at their mail. The box has a lock. I need a cylindrical key to open it. Yes, the license is thin enough to put it through the gap between the box and the counter. Let's see. Perfect. I opened it. Let's take a look. It's a telephone bill. It's billed to a guy named Edward Marzetti. I've heard this name before, but where? Maybe it'll come to mind if I think about it. That's right. Greta's show was called Marzetti's Cats. It's not a very common name. It's gotta be the same person. Maybe Greta will be able to tell me something about this guy. I'd better put the bill back in its place.
Ah, you.
S.
Whatever.
Hi, Greta.
Hi, Jack.
Do you know a certain Edward Marzetti?
Edward Marzetti. I haven't heard his name in years.
So you know him?
Unfortunately, yes. That's someone that I would have rather not known.
How do you know him?
Years ago, when I was still dancing, I worked at this little joint in Little Italy, New Naples. Marzetti was the owner. There were lots of joints like that at the time. There were at least a dozen on the same block. Marzetti bought them all over a few years. He became a sort of godfather in Little Italy. Whichever joint I had a show at, he was the owner.
What kind of guy is he?
The worst kind. He tries to pass himself off as this rich gentleman who supports the arts, theater, and shows. But he's really just a dirty businessman. His only real interests are women and money.
Interesting. Why was his name associated with your show in France?
He was the one who paid for everything. Our dance company was pretty successful here in New York, so Marcetti suggested we go to France. With his typically bad taste, he called the show Marcetti's Cats. Despite the name, it was pretty successful. All the shows were sold out.
Have you ever worked for him again?
No, it's been years since I've been out of that circle.
Do you know the Little Peninsula?
No. Is it a joint?
The owner is your friend, Marzetti. It's an antique bookstore on the Upper East Side. At least, that's what it wants to look like.
Marcetti isn't a guy who spends his days talking about literature. There's definitely something underneath the surface.
I'm sure about it. That's why I have to get in. There's a door in the back of the store, but I think that you need a password or a card to get in. Do you know how to get in?
I haven't been to those places in years, Jack. I don't know how I could help you.
Do you still have any friends in that circle? Do you know anyone who knows how to get in that joint?
I know that I'll be sorry for what I'm about to tell you, but I think I know someone who could help you. And it's someone we both know.
Who?
Your friend Smiley.
Smiley?
Right. I think he works for Marcetti now.
How do you know that?
Before you got here tonight, he spent hours telling me about his new job. He never mentioned Marcetti, but he talked about a couple of joints he owned. If he doesn't work for Marcetti, he works for someone who works for him.
So Smiley might know how to get into the Little Peninsula.
Probably.
Let's... About...
I hate...
Do you know where I can find him?
Not a clue, Jack. The thing that's important to me is that he stays far away from my joint.
If he really works for Marzetti, he'll know how to get into Little Peninsula.
You're a private detective. You won't have any problems finding out where he lives now.
Rushing into his house isn't an option. That guy isn't as dumb as he looks. He'd be on guard immediately if I showed up in the middle of the night.
So how do you want to see him?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I have a favor to ask you.
Let's see.
If Smiley's really sweet on you, you won't say no to a date with you.
What? You want me to go out with Smiley?
That's the idea.
Jack, it's out of the question. I don't have any intention of going out with him just to do you a favor.
Calm down. You won't have to go out with him. You just have to make sure that he comes here.
What do you mean?
Do you have a telephone upstairs?
Yes?
Okay. Call him and tell him to come to the joint. When he gets here, say you have to go put some makeup on your face or any other thing that you broads do before you go out. And go upstairs and call my office. You have the number. Then I'll take care of Smiley.
Can't you go out with that thug?
Greta, if this wasn't the only way I have to get into Little Peninsula and figure out who that girl is, I would never ask you.
Damn it, Jack. You now owe me 2 favors.
So I guess I'll buy you dinner twice.
You'll have to do a lot more than buy me dinner twice to pay off your debt.
I'll find a way. Call Smiley. I'll wait for the call in my office. If Smiley were to see me here when he got here, he'd get suspicious.
Okay.
Good. This must be Greta. Hello?
Jack, it's Greta.
Is Smiley there?
Yes, it's amazing how quickly he got here.
Typical.
He's downstairs. I came up with the excuse of putting my makeup on, but I can't make him wait all night, so hurry up and come here.
Did he come alone?
Yes, he's alone.
Okay, I'll be there in a second.
Jack, hurry up. I don't want that beast near me for another second.
I'm coming. I'd better head for the Red Tulip. Here's Smiley. Let's see if I can get him to talk.
Detective, what brings you here?
I saw the joint was open and I thought I'd pop in.
I'm afraid it won't be open long, though, since Miss Reed accepted my invitation for this evening.
Congratulations, Smiley. Now, besides being a crook, you've become a lady killer.
You aren't jealous, are you?
Jealous of what?
Come on, Detective. Even you aren't immune to the charms of Miss Reed.
I guess she prefers a man of your stature.
You're right. A woman like her needs someone who knows how to make her happy, who showers her with gifts and chauffeurs her around in luxury cars. I don't think that your detective's license gives you that luxury, does it?
Doesn't look like it. Do you know a certain Edward Marzetti?
Marzetti? No, I've never heard the name.
Don't play the fool, Smiley. I know you work for him.
I don't know where you got that information, but it's not true, Detective.
Do you know a place called Little Peninsula?
No, should I?
Damn snake. A nice hook to his solar plexus, and I could get him to say he wears women's underwear. But I can't risk it. I have to find another way to get what I want. See ya, Smiley.
Goodbye, Detective. Goodbye.
I don't see how I could use them together. Maybe a little booze will loosen Smiley's tongue. I've never seen anyone let their guard down so much with just a little booze. Let's see what he has with him. Smiley had a few bucks and this piece of paper with him. The Art of Chess by Humphrey de Forest. It looks like the title of a book. I better remember it, and I better leave the paper where I found it.
Let me guess. We have to go somewhere.
6.
Whatever.